Hola, Mike, Black Rifle Coffee Company. I just try to change up my greetings because I got so many of these. So I want to talk to you guys about dry practice. I hear everybody talk about dry firing, and it aggravates the crap out of me because the idea with dry firing, for example, without the right equipment will set you up only for failure. Let me give you a very good example. So if I take this pistol, this is a SIG P365XL. This pistol, if I used it for dry fire, which would mean that I would take the pistol, pull the trigger in a dry fire, and then rechamber the round or recycle the slide to get a reset of the trigger, I would be building a bad habit. I see it on 90% of my ranges where I have people who train and then we'll do a drill. Like we'll shoot and engage and the person will go boom, and then they'll do this and they'll go, oh. I had a guy this last weekend in one of my training sessions. He defaulted, he dropped the magazine. He went boom, he dropped the magazine, looked at it, put it back in his magazine, and then put the gun away. And I said, how many rounds are in your magazine? And he goes, oh, and he dropped the magazine, looks at it. I go, but you just looked at your magazine. And he goes, did I? I'm like, yes, you did. You built that as a script. So the habit is we don't want to build bad scripts in practice, especially with numerous reps, because that builds a bad habit. That builds a bad routine that sets us up for failure, where you go click and then in the gunfight and then recycle your gun. You're like, why did I do that? There's obviously a lot of recorded cases of this. You've heard it before, but let me turn you on to something that's different called dry practice. Now here's what I do. This is a SIG, the 365XL in appendix carry, right? It's obviously dry. Do your 3 points of contact. The 4 rules of firearm safety apply. When I practice this, I do something called slow practice or slow motion practice. So slow motion practice is, let's say I want to work the draw stroke to presentation of alignment on a target. Slow motion practice is literally that. So I'm here. I might have it, I would have it covered with concealed carry in mind. I draw, access my pistol, remove the gun, move my arm or drop my elbow, align the pistol in line, break the shot. I move my eyes from target focus to front sight focus, and then I come off the gun, and then I break it down. Now, I'm activating my neocortex. I'm not building a bad habit. I'm checked out. I am admin now. Now I could reset it. I'm not doing that as a default. I'm bringing it down here. I'm resetting it and putting away. That's very different in the neurological protocol of building a script versus using cognition, my brain, to think through problems. So the reason slow motion practice is so impactful is because it builds this framework for my body to start moving efficiently when I start to speed it up. Guys always want to be faster and they're like, oh, and then they biff something and then they cycle it and they reset it. They're quick to reset. But when I'm slow motion practicing, I'm focused on the structure of how my body moves, and then I could ramp it up. So if I'm moving at like, I don't know, like 120 frames per second, and I want to speed it up to 60 frames per second, is that the right direction? No, 240 frames per second. Then I would just increase the speed, but slightly, ever so slightly. So you saw that speed. My next speed would be. All right. Putting it away. Then I would ramp it up until I'm comfortable doing it for real. That is super beneficial in your dry practice training. Not just setting and manipulating a trigger and resetting it, which is dry fire on a target, which, by the way, you can get away with smashing a trigger if the barrel's in line and you have proper grip. Let me lastly talk about the idea of exercising your eyes versus just the pistol. You don't need the pistol. So I'll keep that tucked in, and let me focus on my eyes as a visual practice or an eye practice. This is a visual game. It's like playing pool. Understanding pool requires you understanding angles. So I understand that shooting a pistol is a visual game. I need to practice and train my eyes. So what I recommend you do, I'm going to use the camera in this instance because it's in front of me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the target, and the camera is the target. So I'm here. I identify the target with my eyes. Then I drive the gun, in this case, my finger. Then I'm going to get focus on the front of my fingernail, which for you is the finger. And then I'm going to drive it back to the target, which for you is probably my face. Then I'm going to drive it back to my finger, and then back to my face or the target. And then relax, it's making me like crazy. So let me do that again, but let me show you how this works in building the good habit. I identify the target, I present the shooting solution, I drive my focus to the fingernail, and I relax. The advancement to that is, I drive my eyes to the target, I drive a shooting solution, I drive my focus to my fingernail. I drive my eyes to a target, I drive my finger with a shooting solution, then I drive my focus to the fingernail, and I break it down. Now, the evolution of that, I drive my eyes to the target, I drive my shooting solution, I focus on my fingernail, then I focus back to the target. I drive my finger or my eyes to the target, I drive my finger as the shooting solution, and then I focus on my fingernail. Then I'm back out at the target, and then I relax. What I'm doing is I'm getting my eyes used to evolving through the gunfight. When you snap a gun to the target, you're likely identifying that the threat, because that's what you see in focus, you're likely identifying the threat has given you the indication that deadly force is required. By the time I draw the pistol and I'm aligned with the target, my eyes are still looking at the threat. At some point, my eyes need to transition to the front sight. Not saying they won't, but it's hard to immediately snapshot to the front sight because it takes time. The estimates are about 0.3 of a second. So what I'm doing is I'm practicing identifying the target, presenting a solution, snapping my eyes to the front sights, and then down. Evolving, seeing the target in focus, snapshotting the shooting solution, identifying my front sights, and then identifying the target. Why? Because I want to upgrade to my front sights, but I also want to switch back to the target to identify what the target has done. Remember, you can't do both depths of field or aperture settings because your eyes are like cameras at the same time. So if I see the target clear and refined, I'm not going to see the front sight clear and refined. And if I switch my focus to the front sight, which is my finger in this case, I'm not going to see the target in refined focus. That is dry practice training the eyes. Now when I draw the pistol for real and present it, my eyes are trained to automatically find that front sight. And as I have developed as a shooter over time, what I've realized in my own practice is that my eyes immediately snapshot the front sight. But what I've also realized is nobody trains their eyes to do that. This is the start point. You don't need a pistol. You need your finger and your eyes inside of an environment that's controlled, and then take that practice and then move it to the pistol. Lastly, if I did this with a pistol and I won't point my gun, I'm going to draw the pistol and dry practice, present it to a target that I see with my eyes. And then I'm going to look at my front sight and confirm, am I on line with that object? And I am. So then I would break the shot in dry practice. Bam. Confirming my bias. Now I'm off the trigger, I'm breaking it down, and then again, I'm taking a remedial break, thinking, activating neocortex, and then resetting the gun in practice. Again, don't get used to building these scripts of these reps. It's like the guy who's like, boom, boom, boom. It's like, what the hell was that? Did you see anything? Yeah, I scan left, scan right. You didn't see anything. You're developing that as a habit, as a script of action, not as a script of cognition. The two ways that a gunfight works is cognition and then scripts. You might know it as muscle memory. Those two things in conjunction allows us to discriminate targets, allowed us to be cognitive, to make rapid decisions, but also introduce our scripts and habits and behaviors so that we could efficiently work through the problem set. I know that's a lot of words. I just want you guys to be switched on because your practice needs to improve. Dry firing isn't the only solution. Thanks to Black Rifle Coffee for this great venture that is known as Pro Tips. Fieldcraftsurvival.com. Check us out. Come train with us. Until next time, stay alert, stay alive.